Hello, everybody. So, today I wanted to share with you some very interesting news from an article that I came across about how China is now trying to help their tech companies, especially the ones that create processors. They're trying to help them sell even more processors. And so, I wanted to share this article with you. So, let's go over to the computer now so I can share all that information with you. So, as you can see, China has reportedly told its data center operators to source more than 50% of their chips from domestic manufacturers. So, basically, they're just trying to help the Chinese chip manufacturers sell more to the data center operators so that they can help these Chinese chip manufacturers. So, the Chinese government has reportedly mandated that its domestic data center operators nationwide should source more than 50% of their chips from domestic producers. Now, the mandate is said to have originated in guidelines proposed last March for the Shanghai municipality, which stipulated that adoption of domestic computing and storage chips at the city's intelligence computing centers should be above 50% by 2025. Now, according to the SCMP, a source working as an advisor in the data center industry told the outlet that the Shanghai chip quotas for the city's data centers had since become a mandatory nationwide policy. Now, in the great AI race, China is often viewed to be somewhat behind when it comes to computing power, despite the efforts in recent years to build more than 500 new data centers across the country. Sources have told the SCMP that while Chinese chips are considered unstable in inference training for AI models within these facilities, NVIDIA's chips are still the go to choice. Now, while the US government has recently decided to grant licenses to NVIDIA to sell its H20 GPUs to the country once more because of all the tariffs that have been going on, a requirement of 50% or more all Chinese chips would likely affect potential sales and probably hurt NVIDIA in the process. Now, although given the rate of expansion and the apparent popularity of NVIDIA hardware in the country, I'd say it was still likely to shift a fair few units to Chinese shores. Now, the SCMP also reports that data centers are facing adoption challenges in integrating NVIDIA's hardware with their domestic solutions. NVIDIA's AI GPUs make use of NVIDIA's CUDA software ecosystem, while Chinese models often use Huawei CAN or something similar to that. Now, integrating the two together is apparently quite the technical challenge, particularly if firms wish to minimize or maximize the number of faster NVIDIA chips they're allowed to use. Now, despite these issues, it should be noted that Chinese developers were still able to create DeepSeek AI models under previous chip restrictions, an open source alternative that shook the industry considerably at the start of the year. Now, while China may be behind in the hardware game, it doesn't appear to have held it back as much as advocates for the previous US sanctions may have hoped, with NVIDIA CEO Jensen Huang openly praising the Chinese AI industry last month. Now, in reference to fears of the Chinese military advancing its tech with US AI hardware, Huan said, "There's plenty of computing capacity in China already. If you just think about the number of supercomputers in China, built by amazing Chinese engineers that are already in operation. They don't need NVIDIA chips, certainly, or American tech stacks in order to build their military. How much of China's current AI output is being trained and run on Chinese hardware compared to US equivalents is currently unclear. Now, still, this mandate looks to be an attempt by the Chinese government to put curbs on a potential future US tech dominance within its AI industry and ensure that Chinese AI hardware remains at the forefront of its AI development. So I really thought that was interesting for you all to know that China is actually trying to stay at the forefront of this AI tech as well. And in order to do that, they're asking for all the data center operators to have at least 50% or more chips sourced from Chinese manufacturers. So that means that they're going to be creating their own chips, and they're going to be purchasing their own chips and using them in China, which I think is going to be great for competition because it'll have NVIDIA and the Chinese companies competing to be able to give us better products and hopefully push the price down on some of this AI tech that we all would love to get our hands on. Because who wouldn't love to have their own AI at home to be able to do some of this stuff that they're able to do on the web, but you could do it at home with your own equipment. But right now, the cost, even for some of the lower end AI equipment, is probably too cost prohibitive for a lot of people. So if they can push it down and get it to $1,000 or maybe even less, I think that would really help a lot of us to be able to have our own AI at home that could help us with anything you could potentially think of, maybe even coming up with new ideas. So I thought that would help y'all out. Maybe it would be interesting for you all to know this as well. If you do have any questions about this, or maybe you just like me to go into a little bit more depth about it, please let me know down below in the comments, and I will do my best to get back to you about it. So I thought that would be interesting for you all and maybe helpful as well. If you do need me to go into any more depth about it, or maybe you have a few questions about it, please let me know down below in the comments, and I will do my best to get back to you. And if there's a video, topic, article, anything that you would like for me to make a video on, please let me know that down below in the comments as well. And I will do my best to create that video for you. And if you'd like to support this channel, I left a link in the video description where you can buy me a cup of coffee if you'd like to. And as always, because you all do such a great job, if you can, hit that like and subscribe button so I can keep putting up more great content like, did you know that China is now requesting that all their data center operators purchase at least 50% of their chips from domestic manufacturers? And I'll be more than happy to keep putting up all this great content for you all. Thanks so much, everybody. I really appreciate you all. I hope you have a great day. Take care. God bless. And I'll see you all next time. Bye.